Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. So Eddie Hearn and Derek Chisora, obviously these guys have been working together for quite some time. So there's a lot of respect. I think there's a lot of love between the two. Eddie Hearn, he went on record and said that, hey, he loves Derek Chisora. And he just doesn't want to see Derek Chisora get hurt. But this is the thing with Eddie Hearn, man. Let me tell you something. There's something going on over there with Matchroom, something going on with DAZN, because Eddie Hearn is very, very particular about who he's paying to make fights. He's very particular. He wants to make fights that are going to generate a lot of revenue, and he's looking to make fights against his fighters with marquee names, whether it's in his stable or out of his stable. He's not looking like the money train from several years ago when he got the big $1 billion bank account and they gave him a checkbook and said, go out there and make fights. That's over. Listen to what Eddie Hearn is saying, okay? He's adamant about not paying big money for anyone outside of really AJ, Canelo, Tank Davis, like real pay-per-view draws. And DAZN's not about it either. And they're definitely not looking to do anything on any big stage. I'm talking really, in addition to pay-per-view, DAZN pay-per-view, like they're not looking to waste any more money. I think they've lost a lot of money. I honestly do, because all of a sudden now, Eddie Hearn's not looking to make certain fights. I'm going to get into that. We're not going to talk about it since I'm already on the subject. He's not looking to bring Dillian White back over to Matchroom. He's not looking to put a fight like Dillian White and Derek Chisora, which you would think would be a pay-per-view type matchup. He's not looking to put that on the DAZN pay-per-view. He's not looking to do that. And he's not even sure White will want to work with him. I guess it depends on the offer. Then, White may want it. But right now, there's no working relationship, and Eddie Hearn doesn't seem to be interested in offering White any money to bring him back. Now, if he does, he will probably lowball White, because Eddie Hearn is looking, now I'm making an assumption, and I don't mind being wrong. It just sounds to me like he's looking for zero risk type situations, zero risk fighters. He wants, when he gets somebody, it's a win-win. And he wants that for himself and for DAZN. And that's why he keeps talking about Tank Davis, and they'll offer him a huge offer, because the money he was offering to guys like, Andre and Tevin Farmer and some of these other guys, he's not wasting money on those people like that no more. He says, okay, if I got $20 million, I'm not going to spread it across 10 fighters. My $20 million is for one lottery ticket, and it's a winning lottery ticket. And that's what he's looking at. He's done with, changing people's lives. He's looking to really improve Matchroom's, I guess, financial position, to really help to improve DAZN and their financial posture as well. He didn't say they lost, but I'm just kind of connecting the dots. Because why wouldn't he, like before, he would put like Chisora and Dillian White like on a pay-per-view. Not now. He's not even worried about making those fights. Now, this is the thing, right? He's talking about having him fight Joe Joyce. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. But he's listed a myriad of other names. Kaunaki Ariola, I already talked about that. Ruiz, Zhang Zhili, the undefeated Chinese fighter. I think he's fighting out of Philly or New Jersey. Lucas Brown, Flip Hrgovic, which is not an easy fight. Oscar Rivas and Babik, okay? So those are some of the names. Not Deontay Wilder, but he will make a Deontay Wilder fight before the other ones, because he knows for him to get Deontay Wilder into the ring with Chisora, that would be Deontay Wilder's first appearance since fighting Tyson Fury. And Eddie Hearn has already mentioned that he's not sure what those fights took out of Deontay Wilder. Talking about Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, and not the first fight, but the second and third fight. and not sure what it took out of Wilder or what Wilder has left in the tank. So he could be saying there's a good chance that maybe Chisora would get in there, and maybe Deontay Wilder's not the same, and he can get a victory against Deontay Wilder. But it's just not that easy. Deontay Wilder isn't Pulev. Pulev is slow, and he was catching Chisora with some shots. He didn't hit. He missed more than he landed, but he landed a lot. With Deontay Wilder's going to catch him. He's too sharp, too fast, too powerful. And he's going to hit him and he's going to knock him out cold. He's going to hurt him. But it will still be a good fight. But this is the thing with Eddie Hearn. He knows Derek Chisora has a death wish. Derek Chisora is kind of crazy. Eddie Hearn doesn't want him to get hurt. He really doesn't. But you could see that Eddie Hearn almost wished Chisora had lost that fight. He almost wished that Derek Chisora lost, so Derek Chisora could just go on and retire, and he doesn't have to worry about paying him anymore. Eddie Hearn has never talked so much about money or alluded to the fact that he doesn't want to pay people anymore. If even Demetrius Andre, he doesn't want to work with him anymore. Okay? He has one more fight left on the contract. Something happened. He didn't expound. But he says that as far as him working with Demetrius Andre, he hasn't talked to him, and no, that they don't plan on having another fight with him. So that tells me that, he put a lot of money into different fighters, and he just didn't get the return on it. It kind of gives a little bit of validity to what Leonard Ellaby was saying, that maybe Eddie Hearn effed off a lot of money. Now, I still think Eddie Hearn is one of the best promoters, maybe the best promoter, man. At least he talks better than all of them. But it makes you wonder what exactly is going on. Like, is Eddie Hearn inadvertently giving us a peek behind his tent flaps to see what's going on inside there? Without saying, okay, this is what's underneath my cot. Okay? This is what's inside my drawer. This is what's in, It makes you wonder if he's somehow accidentally, in a roundabout way, letting us know there's a little bit of trouble in Matchroom Paradise. But I don't know. I think if there is, we'll find out more and more. But he just doesn't seem to want to really put Chisora in any more fights. He has a relationship with him that's beyond business. And what I think happens, honestly, I think Eddie Hearn's dad sits back, is kind of there in the cut, kind of there in the shadow, and every now and then he emerges from those shadows. And then he'll tell Eddie, good move, bad move, good decision, bad decision, good idea, bad idea, or stop, don't do it. And I think he and his dad have had a conversation, because Eddie Hearn, you got to understand, he's around the same age as a lot of these guys, man. He's plus or minus 10 years on these fighters, man. And he is close with them. He shares similar interests, okay? So he ends up developing a relationship beyond business, man, and that's where things get rough. That's where things get hard, because it's a friend. You know what I'm saying? Or like he says, that's his mate. You know what I mean? Or we say it's your brethren. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard to come out and just draw the line in the sand on him when you haven't had to do that. And I think he's having a tough time doing that with Dillian Whyte. So one fight, I think it's about it. I think Eddie Hearn's like, okay, give you this one fight. It'll be maybe, I don't know if it'll be safe, but it'll be something where it'll be a tough fight. You can have your last hoorah, everybody chanting your name, and then that's it. I just think Eddie Hearn, I think the wells run dry when it comes to them, because he knows Derek Chisora has a death wish. He does, man, wanting to get in there and fight. Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, even if he was to get in there and fight AJ, like, why do that to yourself? It just doesn't make sense. So going forward, man, do not expect Eddie Hearn and Derek Chisora to continue their working relationship after this year. And we could come back to this video early 2023 And I bet you Eddie Hearn will cut Chisora off. And I'm telling you, there's something going on with money over there. There's something going on, and Eddie Hearn's getting some pressure. I've never seen him in interviews kind of draw the line in the sand so much when it comes to, not wanting to deal with fighters. He's always like, yeah, we'll talk to anyone, we'll work with anyone. The tone has changed. The tone has changed. And maybe because he's frustrated, because he seems to be an easy target for so many people because he's out there. He has his business out there. He's always doing interviews. He's very successful. But something is going on with Eddie Hearn, because normally in his interviews, he's bubbly, he's laughing, he's always making jokes. But that's just not what you're getting. You're getting a more serious Eddie Hearn that really doesn't have time for the BS, man. And he's just trying to be cordial, but you could tell he's just almost over it a little bit, I just think there's something else going on with Eddie Hearn, and we'll see. We'll see. But he doesn't want Chisora to get hurt, man. He doesn't. He doesn't want him to get hurt, and he was hoping that he would have lost that fight. I know deep down Eddie Hearn was hoping Chisora lost that fight. I think he wanted him to win because that's his friend, but from a business perspective, he wanted him to lose the fight so he didn't have to worry about dealing with Chisora anymore. And Eddie Hearn is really, really looking on focusing on those big names. Conor Ben is another one. He's looking to build him because he's paying him big money. So obviously Conor Ben is the draw. He's young. These older guys who are on the way out, Eddie Hearn just wants to just go ahead and just push them on out, get them out the way, focus on this young talent that he can groom, make them into pay-per-view stars. That's where the money's at. And I really think that's what he's looking at. And I'm telling you, I think his dad had a conversation with him. Because Eddie Hearn's a guy, a lot of boxers like him. Because whatever he promises you, he does it. But I think we're going to start hearing more boxers complain about him than we've ever heard. Because he's going to start saying no. And I think before it was like, well, we never want to say no. Maybe there's a happy medium. Maybe we can kind of work through things. I think you're going to start hearing him say, just boldly and flat out say, no, I'm not doing it. Not that I can't do it. It's just I'm not doing it. And I think that's what we're going to start hearing. But for Derek Chisora, no deal, Derek. It's over. Get your last one fight in. It's not going to be the fight you want. If for some reason he looks outstanding, Eddie Hearn may say, okay, there's some big money behind Derek Chisora now. He may try to line up that Wilder fight, but I really think he just wants guys like Chisora to disappear, Tevin Farmer to disappear. The other guy, the Hispanic guy who was with Mayweather, Jesse Vargas? Yeah, disappear. All these guys that he signed. Devin Haney, he doesn't want him to disappear, but he wants him to hold on to those belts and come back because that's money for Eddie Hearn. But anyone that he signed and brought on, he just wants them to disappear now. Just go, get out of here. And he's looking to really source big names. That's what he's after. If you think I'm wrong, you can leave your comments below and give me your perspective. But I'm listening to his interviews, and that's what I'm gathering. Eddie Hearn is tired of losing money. He wants big names. He has Canelo, but they paid a lot of money to get Canelo. They got Triple G, a lot of money for Triple G. AJ, a lot of money for AJ. Outside of those three, right? Dillian White, he was pumping Dillian White. Chisora, he was pumping Chisora. You got Katie Taylor, but outside of that, what does he have? No matter what you say, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, Wilder, Ruiz, Luis Ortiz, all of the really big names. Now the two biggest stars that he has, he has two of the three. I would say two of the four. He's got AJ and he has Canelo. Doesn't have Tyson Fury, doesn't have Wilder. And two of the five, and then Tank. Okay? There are other fighters that are huge, Katie Taylor, but I'm talking about right now, I would say AJ and Canelo are the two biggest. Okay? I would say that. And Tyson Fury's he's close, but AJ, he has those guys, but they pay real money for them. So I'm not sure what his profit margins are when it comes to those guys' fights. But the amount of money that those guys are getting paid, I mean, there's got to be something to it. But you look at what PBC and everyone else is doing. Guys are getting paid handsomely. They're happy. But PBC is making money somehow. You know, somehow they're making money hand over fist. And I'm sure Eddie Hearn is making money, but I think he's taking a lot of losses as well. I think he's taking more losses than PBC and Top Rank. I think Top Rank situation with Terrence Crawford, where there was a lot of financial loss. Terrence Crawford was a liability. He was a depreciating asset. Okay, they were losing money on him. Now his value's gone up since he left over there. But I think Eddie Hearn has had, you know, like 20 to 25 Terrence Crawfords. And what I mean by that is someone who just, as far as what they invested in them, they didn't get what they expected on in their return. Now we know Terrence Crawford is maybe the best pound for pound boxer out there. But I'm not talking about talent-wise. I'm talking about return on investment, ROI. That's what we're talking about. And I think Eddie Hearn has had maybe 20 to 25 of those over the last few years just because they were trying to build their profile in the States. And some things worked out, some things didn't. But he will never disclose that, the fact that he lost or there was huge failures. He will say there were some bumps and bruises, some learning experiences, but he will never say that he failed, and he won't talk about huge losses. He'll just say they learned on the job and they're postured for success now. But when it comes to Chisora and anyone else, I just think he's not going to do it. First, he doesn't want to see him get hurt because that's his friend, but I just think Eddie Hearn is tired. I think there's more going on, but we'll find out. I don't have any specifics on that except for what Eddie Hearn is saying. He's shooting down the idea of just promoting fighters who aren't showing a return on investment. And those are the words. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what's coming out of his mouth. Watch his interviews, especially the ones last night where they kept interviewing that card where they were talking about Chisora, talking about the other people on the card, asking about guys like Dehaney, the Andre, and listen to what he's saying. Talking about Dillian White and talking about Liam Smith. Listen to what Eddie Hearn's saying. And I'm sure you'll conclude something similar. May not be exact, but you'll see what I'm saying is not far-fetched. I think I'm spot on, but I mean, it's all subjective. But that being said, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Derek Chisora, hopefully he is really listening to Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn doesn't sound enthused about promoting another Chisora fight. If you listen to that post-fight press conference, he did not sound enthused about anything except for the fact that Derek Chisora got a win and that he's healthy and his daughters got to see him fight. That's the only thing he sounded enthused about. He wasn't like, yeah, we can't wait to line him up with this guy. No, there was none of that. And Derek Chisora made a kind of joke about leaving Eddie Hearn and going to, that's right, made a joke about going to fight over there, I think with Frank Warren or something. And Eddie Hearn said, that's fine, he can do that if he chooses. He would have never said that about anyone else. But he said about Derek Chisora. He almost wants someone to come and just offer him more money than he's willing to offer him and let them take him off his hands so he can focus on up-and-coming, younger, more promising talent. That's just how I took it. I could be wrong. I like Derek Chisora. I like Eddie Hearn. But I just think Eddie Hearn, I think his old man put a foot in his ass and he turned it sideways and he shot for the hole with no Vaseline and it went in the hole. And Eddie Hearn didn't like it. But you leave your comments below. Let me know what you think, man. I'm going to leave you guys at that. Shout out to all the veterans. Y'all keep safe. I appreciate the support. And as always, I'm in the breeze.